Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I've got another vintage haul. I hope you'll stick around. Alright, so before I get started on the haul, I decided to go through a couple of those junk journals we looked at in the last video and pull out all of the things that had been stuffed inside, just so we could get an idea of how much extra there was. So if I look at this one, this was all of the, and this envelope here, this pink envelope, full of stuff. I'm dropping it because there's so many things. Several paper clips, etc. So this one was chock full. And then the big one, this big one that had all the corners and the two mini journals in it, all of this stuff. So, and again, dropping it. So that tells me, and I really like that it was all in there, so that tells me I need to make sure that when I start creating journals, I'm stuffing it full of fun stuff. All right, so this video, I'm sitting weird because I got one leg off the bed because this particular item is taking up too much space in my seating area, but it is, okay, we're gonna get, this is some nostalgia here. Who doesn't remember the avocado green sewing cabinet, or sewing basket? Would you call this a basket? I saw one of these, oh, I gotta sit up, you guys. I saw one of these in a different antique store and I almost bought it, but it was cracked. And I thought, no, I don't really want to buy a cracked one because part of the reason why I'm buying this is to recycle it into a storage container, not necessarily for sewing items, but for crafting items, so that maybe it can be my travel crafting box kind of idea. So this one, one of the drawers, or not drawers, but well, one of the things inside might be a little cracked, but at least the exterior was not cracked. So tray, maybe we call these a tray. Plus I'm always kind of hoping that there will be some cool vintage find in here, but we've got this tray, which, yeah, I think it's, well, maybe it's not. Yeah, it looks like it is though. It looks like it's cracked a little bit here on this end, maybe, and on this end. But I won't show everything, but we do have a button card, some loose buttons, some other button cards, which I like the button cards. We've got a doohickey here. I don't know what these things are called. Got some snap ribbon, maybe? I don't know what that's called. Loads of thread. So when I get, actually, I think my sewing machine from Temu has come already, I think, but I haven't opened it yet because I'm going to open that with you guys for my Temu haul. Then we've got this kind of ribbon, which is kind of wild, but wouldn't that be great on a patriotic journal? Or just a red, white, and blue kind of journal. There are like hook and eye or whatever these things are called, but that's not interesting to me when they're just in a bag. I'm really only interested in them if they come on the card still, because those are something I could tuck into a journal. All right, and then it had a second tray, which I think I think that was something with the other one too that I didn't get because it was cracked. I don't think it had both trays. And so we've got some this kind of stuff, some loose things which I can put into my loose button, because that's probably what I'm going to end up using for dangles, is buttons, since vintage jewelry is so expensive nowadays. But there's several of these kind of things. Oh, and we've got some little red pom-poms. Some applique, is that what that would be called? Some needles. So my daughter was asking me yesterday if I had a needle. She bought some on vacation, got some Converse. Converse is her particular brand of choice for shoes, and so she needed a new pair, but she got the kind that comes all the way up to the knee, laces all the way up to the knee. So now she wants to embroider, because there's so much canvas there. So she started embroidering those. I'll have to see if she'll let me show you when it's done. All right, then in the bottom, all right, well, we've got actual sewing machine parts. Like, I don't know what this is called, but I guess if you wanted to do, is this like if you wanted to do different kinds of stitching, you would change out these pieces on an older machine that maybe doesn't have a dial to change that kind of thing. I don't know how that works, really. Are we surprised? And then, is this a needle card? Yep, a needle card, which I'm really, needle cards for some reason are super expensive in antique stores. So I'm happy to see one in here. That's cool. But what on earth is inside here? Oh, you guys. That's fantastic. I love that so much. There are zippers, which you could just glue this onto the side of a page. You know, it doesn't matter. You don't need to, I mean, if you were crafty, you probably could put this as a zipper to open up a pouch in your journal. I don't think I'll get that crazy. Oh, a cutter, rotary cutter. I just ordered one of these off of Amazon because my friend Pam said that you could get them with pinking dials. So I got one with a pinking dial. What's this for? I think mortar and pestle, but it's wood. So I don't, what is this for? Pushing something down? I don't know. Oh, and there's a pair of pinking shears, which I also just bought recently. But this is, I don't think you can buy, maybe you can, that's dumb to say, but I was gonna say, I don't think you can buy solid metal pinking shears anymore. But that is very, those are hard to use. They're not rusty or anything, but, oh, and then we've got a little, one of these. I don't, okay, well, there is something in here. Our Grandchildren's Snapshot Album. Oh, is that what it is? Oh. Oh, it's a needle. Oh, look at that. Aw. That's fantastic. Now, of all the things that I've ever seen to hold needles, that's probably the coolest. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. I like this better, but this I wouldn't have to keep. You know, I would probably keep that handmade one. Okay, is there anything else? Nothing else really in here that we didn't already see some other version of. So yeah, so I paid for this, but and then where am I going to put all the sewing stuff so that I can use this for craft stuff? That's a good question. Maybe in a box? Although if I were smart, I would leave the thread somewhere I can reach it, because maybe I'll want to actually use different colored threads on my journals. But yeah, I was happy to find one of those in relatively good condition. All right, this is probably going to be a smaller video or shorter video than normal. But we're going to look at some books from different places. Several of these are from Half Price Books, because it is one of my favorite places to shop. So I found this Mini World Atlas to give me map paper in different size. Sure, I can cut up other map pages, but sometimes it's nice because this has a gilded edge, and so it's just a nicer look. And then I found several, not all of these things are from Half Price Books. Some of these things are from antique stores, but I found several Rand McNally Junior Elf books, which I'm wanting to collect to read to in the far off future to my grandchildren. So any of these spark some memories for you guys? And then they always have great illustrations in them. So yeah, so these I don't plan to tear these apart unless for some reason I accidentally buy two of the same one. But these were titles that I don't see often. So should we make this a thumbnail? Because everybody loves books, and so then when they see it, they'll be like, I have to watch this video. I'm joking, of course, but all right, then we've got Wild Animals of North America, National Geographic, and okay, well, they're illustrations, but they're kind of glossy. I'm not sure, why would I have bought this? Not really into mammals. Oh, I might have bought it for groundhogs, because Gracie's birthday is, oh, isn't that cute? Oh, these will make good pictures in ephemera packs, and they'll make the good pictures in journals too. But Gracie's birthday is Groundhog's Day, and so I like trying to find, pictures of groundhogs. Okay, well, this book, I hope I didn't spend a lot of money on this, because this really isn't very interesting to me personally. Did this come from Half Price Books? No. So I don't know what I paid for it. Hopefully, like I said, not very much. It may have been in a library at some point in time, but there's no, oh, there was, oh, darn it, there used to be a pocket. All right, and then The Wonderland of Knowledge. Kind of an interesting cover, but I'm assuming listen to me, I bought these for the pictures, and it's good, thick paper, and it would make great pockets and folders, and we've got some train stuff in here. So that's what some people would do, is they would take a book like this and they would look through for pictures that fit themes that they're trying to collect images for. Then they would take them out and put them in. But I also like these single color kind of pictures. So that's probably why I picked it up, just for the pictures. I mean, it's like somebody took a yellow highlighter and just highlighted parts of it. And I don't know why, but I love that. I love that look. Because obviously a yellow sky makes sense. It just makes me wonder if I could take old black and white pictures, get a highlighter, and just color them. So, okay, well that was it for that book. Not overly exciting. And then found a new flower book at Half Price Books. Jason, I've probably said this before too, but Jason's always like, I don't understand how you keep finding new books. Like, how have you not found all the books yet? And sometimes I find them, but I can't get them because they're cost prohibitive. And then maybe I find them at a different store and it's cheaper. That could happen sometimes. This book was only $10. Let's see what the actual cover. Oh, the cover's not bad. It doesn't look like it's probably a very old book. That's funny. It says the price is $24.95, higher in Canada. They won't tell you what, because obviously the exchange rate, I guess, would fluctuate. But speaking of Canada, several of the junk journalers that I like to watch. Oh, this is from 1984. Oh, this is in really good shape for a book this old. Several of the junk journalers that I like to watch are in Canada, and they are dealing with the tariff situation now. So a lot of them have unfortunately had to raise prices on their journals for their American viewers because of the tariffs. And so I was like, well, shoot, I really try not to pay too much attention to politics, which probably is not very smart. But I obviously felt the tariff situation through my Temu. My Temu, Gabby made this for me. Well, not for me, but she gave it to me before she left for college. But I, of course, felt it with how things went for me for Temu. And so then I was like, well, shoot, I sell internationally. What is that going to mean for me? But I ended up searching more on the Canadian side because I was really curious. And it looks like the tariffs for Canadians selling to Americans depends on how their journal is made. If they completely make it themselves with items sourced from Canada or the US or Mexico, actually, then I don't think it qualifies for tariffs. But if they get a journal from China that they just add embellishments to, then it qualifies for tariffs. And I was like, oh man, what a pain in the butt. So I don't know what that's going to mean if we're going to start seeing higher prices from our Canadian friends. But I am hoping that the ones that are making things pretty much themselves from those kind of products won't be impacted, I hope. So who knows though? I'm not an expert. Don't believe anything I say. There is a Instagram person that I follow called OBS, the letters OBS Books. And I think she's in Thailand or somewhere around there, but she's always finding books like this. And they have all these great pictures, and they're in English. Like, I can read the words on the pages. Now, they may be European books, but I'm like, where are you finding those? I want to find those. So I felt like, oh, treasure. I felt like I kind of found that with this book. So I really, really, really like this book. And the fact that the picture's on one side and the words are on the other. So if somebody gets this page in a kit or in a journal, they can fussy cut to their heart's content. And it is chock full of pictures and treasures. What is this? Well, that's a blank piece of paper. I saw that stuff earlier, but what is this? I guess just planting information. So, okay, we like newspaper clippings. So really, really happy to find a book anytime I can find books like that that are designed with the pictures on one side and the words on the other, and seemingly have it be the entire book, that every page is like that, is phenomenal to me. All right, now I told you I was starting to look in the collector's guide book section, which in most of the half-price books that I've been to, it's been like a shelf and a half. Now there is usually maybe a whole shelf dedicated to coins and like baseball cards, those kind of things, but I don't look at those. So, and then there's usually a whole shelf that's for glassware and that kind of stuff. So then I guess you get the one shelf that's for like everything else. And so I look for those. So I found this one for photographs. It was only $3.99. So it's got the stereoscope card things in them too. Is that what they're called? Now I can't remember. But it's on kind of an ivory kind of paper, and it's kind of got some history in here too, but it's got great stuff to cut out, you guys. So instead of getting a Tim Holtz kind of ephemera pack or a printable, I guess, although the printables would be reusable, I like finding stuff like this. It's also got sometimes other stuff like these are kind of cool. What are these? These are case designs, so maybe what you'd put your pictures in. But it does have, okay, so it's got tin types. So if you shop it all on Whatnot, you'll see people have shows where they do tin types, and it tells you over here what a tin type is. Stereographs. Okay, well that's, I was saying, did I say stereoscope? Well, stereographs is what they're calling them, which I've shown you. I've found some of those one time. But sure, I can cut these out and put these in a journal. I mean, it's, how old is this book? But these are 19th century photographs. So antique photographs, but this book itself is from 1976, which is vintage. But it's a vintage book with antique pictures. Now it does have some questionable things in here. Like there's a page in this book again for blacks is what it's labeled. And I don't know if I have any black viewers, but I don't know if you find this kind of stuff offensive, or if because it's part of your history, if you, I don't know how you value it, I guess. And I want to be respectful. It's also got a page for the American Indian. I'm trying to get to some that maybe aren't so, oh, well, disasters. Maybe not the best thing you want for a happy kind of journal. Then we've got card photographs. Okay, so these are like the cabinet cards. Now for me, oh, we've got Samuel Clemens down here, Mark Twain. Are these all authors? Is this like, this kind of looks like Louisa May Alcott from the author's cards. Okay, does it say? Oh, well, that was Julia Ward Howe, the first president of the New England Women's Suffrage Association. So it does at least say who all of these are. But I like the back of the cabinet cards. Is there going to be a picture of the back of them in here for me? But it's, you know, now these you do have to pick and choose which picture you like because they're front and back. Yeah, they didn't have any. Oh, well, that's because we're going to get to cabinet cards next. Okay, well, we got the front of the cabinet cards again. I'm not going through every single page, I'm sorry, but I want to see if there's, okay, good. There is a page that has the backs. That is, to me, the best part because it's the advertisement for the photographer. And then it's got instructions on how to date them. But anyway, this is probably one of the least interesting of these kind of books, but I still thought it was somewhat interesting. And if nothing else, this paper it's a great quality paper to use for collage. And it's got, okay, let me find. It's got pages like this. Cut this page out and make it a page in a book, right? Your own book. And then I finally found one of these Reader's Digest Birds of Britain books. This is one that Seven Plaza talks up these Reader's Digest books. And, well, here we've got other ones that I need to look for. But I finally found a birds one, which you guys know I love birds. And I say that in every video, don't I? I love birds and flowers. But these are great for fussy cutting. I mean, you can have them as is, but they are great for fussy cutting because they have such big images. And I don't know, like on the gardening, Reader's Digest gardening one that I got, they came out with a revised edition, and the revised edition was not as good as the original. This one is 1989, originally produced in 1981. So what I haven't decided is if I'm going to also add these to my permanent collection and wait till I get a second one to cut it up. But I don't know. Part of me obviously wants to do that. And then the other part of me is like, that's too much stuff to save. Now we've got a field guide for birds of North America. I'd never seen this one before. Look at that. Now, is that really a real bird? Military warbler. Okay. I don't recall ever seeing that in any of the bird books that I've gotten. So some great bird images in kind of a different size paper. And then I got this just because this is what I should do for my thumbnail. Since that's my last name, hold on. Let me put it back up here. And people will be like, what's she pointing at that for? By Aldous Huxley, The Crows of Pear Blossom. This was $8. Now, to me, that's overpriced, but maybe it's because it's Aldous Huxley that it's worth that, but that seems like a lot for a kid's book. But I did get it to cut up because I need some crows for all of my kids' graduation journals. And there's not a lot of pictures in here, but because some of them are just other animals, insects, amphibians, but it does have some good crow pictures. So, yeah. Hi, let me take a brief moment out of our video to let you know that today's video is sponsored by Junk for Goats. Junk for Goats is my business where I sell and resell vintage, antique, and some modern ephemera for all of your junk journaling or crafting needs. I have shops on Etsy, Whatnot, and I list my digital items on my coffee shop. All of the links for those are below in the description, so please check that out. It's also important to note that 10% of all the proceeds from my sales are used to purchase goats from Compassion International. Those goats are provided to families across the world to help them meet their own families' needs in terms of their diet, but they can also take and sell the milk and the cheese that they produce from their goats to their friends and family nearby, helping to provide them with a income source that is valuable in the areas in which they live. So if you would like to craft with a difference, please check out the description below. And as always, thank you, and please enjoy the rest of the video. Thanks. All right, so then Raggedy Ann. I'm always looking for Raggedy Ann, and I found a few different ones. Well, actually, I don't even know because I've not been keeping track. But these in particular, this one, let's see what the age is on this one. 1960, originally 1924. I've never found any that old. But Johnny Gruel or Gruel did all of the artwork for all of these, and as they've been redone, they've kept it, but I love them because so many of them have the picture at the top. And so if I want to make the double pocket with a children's book image, this is great. Now this one happens to have one at the bottom, so I probably wouldn't use that, but I love the colors. They're so bright and vivid. So that's really what I like out of these is there are some of these books that have some of the images are black and white, but I just really like the vibrancy of these colored images, much more vibrant than a lot of children's books are. So I've got this, which also looks like this one's got some foxing though, or stains, I guess. This one's also from 1960. So this one is Friendly Fairies. Oh, Friendly Fairies. So perhaps if I were going to do a fairy journal, I could get some great images out of this one. I don't know. When I watch other crafters videos, they act like fairies are super popular. Fairies and mushrooms are super popular journals to make. So maybe I will start collecting and making it. Maybe I'll try to make a fairy journal. Now this one looks older. The paper is definitely reminiscent of the older times. This is from 1930. Oh man, this may be a first edition because it does not have any kind of reprint information in here. And if it is a first edition, I will not cut it up. I will do my research first, I should say. But if it is a first edition, I believe I would save these. It's in terrible condition, but sometimes that doesn't matter as much with books. It's got great pages, but it is a shinier paper than it was in the 60s. So, which is kind of interesting, right? You would think that this would be more expensive. So, but it's got a little fairy. See, this I thought would make a really good cover, but if I find that if it is the first edition, I will not tear that apart. Then we've got a reader's book. So like an elementary school book. This book belongs to Festus Public Schools. And it had some, oh, fairies too. Some cool illustrations. Some of these readers have really good pictures and some of them not so much. Like, what is going on here? I can't tell if this is like this because of over here, or is it supposed to be dotty like that? Messy like that. Rumpelstiltskin. So just a bunch of good Hiawatha's something or other. What was that? Hiawatha's Fishing. So a lot of popular stories. Roland the Noble Knight. Famous Heroes of Long Ago. Do you like squirrels? So just a lot of good stuff. And then the other pages that don't have words are good for journaling, although they might be a little chippy. Well, let me just try folding one of these. Not that one. That one has a picture on it. I usually try to pick a page in the back, like from the glossary, to fold the corner to see if it cracks. And this one does not crack, so good. All right, then there's a whole book on Coca-Cola serving trays. What? I have other Coca-Cola books, but not specifically serving trays. Oh, it came with Coca-Cola resources. That's funny. What I've found with a lot of these collector's books is it's somebody who really liked collecting this themselves is the one that made the book. And now Coca-Cola is probably different because it's Coca-Cola, but a lot of other books that I've gotten, you can tell that the artist was that the author was the collector and had some friends that also collected and put stuff together. But I thought these, honestly, I thought these could make journal covers. Maybe some of the more classical ones. Now, I feel like I've got cards that look like this, Coca-Cola cards. But yeah, a whole book for serving trays. Now, did it have anything else? Oh, we get a calendar page. Somebody had a Coca-Cola calendar. That's fun. Let me see if it really is legitimately all. Okay, well, I like this page better because it's got like a calendar and some other things. Everything that had that particular lady. 1910 Hamilton Kings. Okay, so then we've got Hilda Clark, Lillian Nordica. So these pages I like more. Now, granted, most of the book is the other pages, but there's a few pages at least like that. What about it in the back? Wow, there's literally... She was covered. She was not naked in that picture. TV trays. So, yeah, I just think this stuff is fun. Now, this book, I probably could have done without this book just because there's, I don't know, but those, I think, being that I'm doing Reader's Digest and cinch binding, I think these would be a good size to go in that kind of thing. So that's my excuse, at least, for why I got that. And who doesn't like getting the random calendar page? All right, then I got these that are all tied together. Oh, I got these because it had one of my favorite books, The Fire Cat, and the Berenstain Bears, which I really like. And the Berenstain Bears is one of those, what is it called? Mandala effect, where people could swear that Berenstain was spelled differently than it really is. Plus it's got Snow White And what was the other one? Oh, Play Ball, Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia was one of my favorites in the 80s too. Let's see if I can get this open. We have to take a trip down nostalgia lane. Wow, this is an interesting way to using all this thread this way. But can I get through the knot? And I don't have scissors. Will it slide for me? It won't slide. Why don't I have my stuff? Well, okay, I guess I can't rip through that, but yeah, the fire kit. Can I, and I can't even, can I slide this? Can I break nails while I do it? Yes, I probably can. Oh, I got it. Okay, so there are so many of these Walt Disney series books that I've never put any effort into getting, but being that it's Snow White, yeah, see, this is not, I don't like this artwork. It's not detailed enough, so these will probably, I mean, I don't know, I guess it's not terrible, but maybe for a themed Snow White journal that would be good. But you guys, it's Amelia Bedelia when she looks like this. Stop updating our favorite nostalgic characters into modern day. Stop it. Leave them. Same with Strawberry Shortcake. She's had like 15 iterations. But yeah, I loved Amelia Bedelia. That was one of the, in the particular school I went to, it was Amelia Bedelia. It was these easy to read or I can read books, Fire Cat being my favorite of those, and Peter Rabbit. I mean, the artwork in this is not great, but that's not why I got that. I got this for nostalgia. I think all of my grandkids should have this book. So I don't know if I'll have grandkids, but if I do, they'll get that book. And then I really appreciate the messaging in the Berenstain Bear books. It's Christian messaging and just overall kind of golden rule kind of messaging. Now this book is kind of a little glossy for my taste, but if you're looking for like full color pages, it's not bad, but I don't like the texture of the paper here. How old is this? This is 1992, so yeah, it's a little too new. But the Fire Cat, I should have, so in 4th or 5th grade, I had to memorize a book for a program I was in. And I chose Danny and the Dinosaur, but I really should have chosen the Fire Cat. And Danny and the Dinosaur was another book in this same I can read time period. But you guys, this one's from 1960. This might be a first edition of this book. So yeah, I'm so happy. They do still sell that, I think, in Barnes & Noble. And I saw a Peter Rabbit book in Barnes & Noble the other day, and I picked it up because I was like, wonder what version this is. And it was from 2002. So I was really surprised that they had such a old book in the bookstore, right? Okay, so this one, I've talked about the fact that I had a sheet music book like this that I cut them out, and it's actively in my shop. And I found another one that was a little bit different. And so I picked it up because it's great images. I wouldn't necessarily think of sheet music as almost being like posters for movies, which why wouldn't I? Now this one's a little different because the pages for it are just spread, or the pictures for it are just spread throughout the overall listing, but the majority, if not all, they're color. And the majority of the ones in my other book were black and white. So I thought that would be neat then, that I could have color ones too. But and hopefully, because they're spread out, oh, see, they're spread out, so it should be to where you don't have to pick and choose. But see, we've got a picture here, and on the back, this picture comes down into the other one. So then I have to choose, because I do want to fussy cut them out so that they are completely ready to be used in somebody's crafting. And you get it for movies, so then it's like you get the movie poster and orchestra, and they're just like neat pictures. But I'm gonna have a lot of this glossy paper left over, and I don't know what to do with that, you guys, because I don't find that particularly useful. But maybe I could punch things out of it with my punches to give kind of a shiny look to things. So yeah, the other price guide I got, it was really just all the pictures and a little blurb underneath it, but this one is much more comprehensive. And then I'm not really sure why I picked this one up, but it's Hollywood Collectibles. And so it looks like that. These are not cheap books, but okay, you guys remember the Dion quintuplets? So there's, you know, Wizard of Oz, and this super shiny, but you can get some sandpaper and kind of scuff it up a little bit, and then ink where you scuffed if you want to age it. Shirley Temple. So yeah, I guess I'm really just looking for the feels from the nostalgic pictures. The picture quality, though, maybe isn't so great on some of these. But I had to have found some things that I thought were cool when I was going through. And it's all color. Did anybody have a baby Sandy when you were growing up? Oh, these are nice. I don't know if they're movie posters or what, but yeah, so there's a ton of those. Isn't that fantastic? Now, obviously, there's also pictures like this of dolls and stuff, which, I mean, you could still use that, of course, but yeah, I'm sure I got it, that I guess, for the movie posters. So, and maybe some of these are advertisement pictures. The Dion quintuplets there again. There are some, oh, well, this is a whole section on the quintuplets. So we've got some pictures from their life, and, you know, they were completely exploited. I mean, I don't think anybody argues with that. It was kind of a weird situation. I read a little bit about it once I started seeing more things with them, and they had a bunch of sibling, like they were, I think, maybe taken over by the state, and the parents worked to get custody back of them, but the parents had a bunch of other kids too. And wow, so we've got, there's a whole section on them. But yeah, and they finally did get back with their parents, but I don't think that was a very positive situation either. Some Charlie Chaplin stuff. So this is a fun book. Fred Astaire. I used to watch Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers movies. I mean, he did a lot of movies with ladies that weren't that weren't ginger, but I definitely like the ginger ones the best. But yeah, it's like, it's so nostalgic. I can't stand it. So that'll be fun to cut up. That's really what I get them for, is to cut them up for the pictures. And the hope that maybe somebody out there is wanting some kind of authentic looking ephemera that isn't just a printable. I'm sure a lot of these things you can probably find printables for, although maybe not, because they really should still be copyrighted. But this way people can get, you know, a pretty good replica of the original. Okay, now here's modern collectible tins. Seems like a weird one, but it's kind of an advertising kind of thing, which I love. I did buy, you've seen, I've shown a few times where I've bought some tins because I thought, I bought a cream of wheat tin, which I realized later I probably shouldn't put cream of wheat in there because it is a metal tin and it could rust. So unless I have a liner, I shouldn't use it for that, and I should just use it for decoration. Or maybe I can find a plastic container that would sit inside of it. But I found a saltines one, and I was like, well, saltines would be good because those come individually, you know, the sleeves individually wrapped or whatever. And they could go in one of those, but it was too expensive, so I was sad. But doesn't this anybody have these canisters? There's somebody I watch on, or I follow on Instagram, that they'll just post a picture like this and say, what does this make you think of? I'm like, well, I could be doing that. Maybe get some extra followers. Now there were, okay, so we've got like Oreos. There was one Christmas where it might have been one of the first years that companies like Snickers, Hershey's created tins that were full of candy bars, or probably the mini candy bars or whatever. But there was one year, and we celebrated Christmas with my dad's family at the family farm in Warsaw, Indiana, well, Claypool, Indiana. And almost all of us got one of those tins for my grandma, and it was hilarious. She had like a bunch of tins at the end of that. Who remembers the animal crackers? Going to the zoo with your animal crackers. Oh, there's a Beatrix Potter, Peter Rabbit tin. I really need to do a Peter Rabbit themed journal, but I only like the Beatrix Potter version. And then it's like, well, just give somebody a book, like a Beatrix Potter book, because I don't know. I feel like all the images that I would put in there would be the same. Okay, now Celestial Seasonings, that's not very old, right? Sleepy Time tea. But perhaps they don't sell them in tins anymore. So I guess that would be, here we go. It was these. They had different versions of them, like Milky Way and, you know, so I guess that's Mars, not Hershey's, although Hershey's might have done it as well. All right, now we've got Lifesavers. Who remembers the Lifesaver storybooks? My grandma used to give me a Lifesaver storybook every Christmas back when they were cool and they had all the different flavors. Nowadays, I think you get your basic 5 flavor and maybe something else. And you can also get a gummy version of the storybook. No, we need to go back to the time when there was butter rum, there was wild cherry, there was 5 flavor, there was pineapple coconut, or maybe each of those were a different flavor. We need all the different variety. Bring that back. See how nostalgic I am? I'm like, let's go back to when it was better. Yeah, so Hershey's did, of course, Hershey's had their own. Crackle, love that. Now, I do not like the Mr. Good bar, even though I like candy bars with peanuts in it. I don't like the Mr. Good bar, and I don't like the dark chocolate one, even though I do like dark chocolate of other things. Double bubble. So these are going to be fun to cut out. These will be fun to put in. Oh, Big Mac. Look at that. Now I did see on a different trip, I did see a McDonald's one, a McDonald's one, but I don't know if I bought it or not. That would have been dumb if I didn't, unless it seemed super expensive for, oh, buttermints. I love buttermints. But yeah, isn't this fun? Is that Fig Newtons? Fig Newtons? I love Fig Newtons. I haven't had a Fig Newton though forever. Ritz. Yeah, so if I were to, these would be great for if I was doing food ephemera packs. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I want to show. Band-Aid. Now you find those, I mean, now see, Band-Aids, that would have been a good thing to save a tin for. Crayola. I don't know. We're so quick to throw away things that last to then replace them with plastic. All right, the final book, which might be my favorite of these that I've shown today, is Enameled Street Signs. Who would have thought? So, again, awesome. Now, there are black and white ones in here. I hope they're not all. Although there are a lot, but you guys, they're so old that it's fitting. And maybe I could get my yellow highlighter out and just highlight something in them, right? Like those other, but yeah, they're showing the different signs as they appeared in real life. Epps Cocoa, OXO, OXO. But then in the middle, okay, well, before I get to the middle, see, there's plenty of cool things to cut out. And for someone like me that wants to do vintage, doesn't matter that it's black and white. But I do prefer the color. It's like advertisements. I mean, it is advertisements. So even though it's a book on signs, I don't know. I just think these are great. And you know, Temu sells ephemera packs of replicated things like this. And I'm like, why not create ones with, you know, better ones? So I'll be fussy cutting all this stuff out. I'm gonna have to make my choices because they're front and back like the jerks they are. But obviously they only wanted to put a color section in the middle, so you don't want to put any waste any of it with words. But yeah, so I love it. And how do I make choices of what I'm gonna cut out and what I'm not? So like this, I'm not overly interested in this because it's a picture of a cap, and it's not the same all the way around, so that doesn't interest me as much. So I look for things like that. I look for, okay, we've got cigarette things on here, so cigarettes wouldn't be my top choice of things to sell, so maybe on the back side there's something better than a cigarette in that spot. Alcohol might be kind of the same way. I don't drink alcohol, but some of those pictures are really cool pictures, so it really just depends. Sometimes I figure out what my favorite picture is on both pages. I cut that out, and then I just kind of work from there, and I just pick out my favorites from what's left, and then, or what maybe looks the oldest. or, you know, we've got Burma sauce, or do I have too many blue things and I need some yellow, or, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm thinking about all of those, but I typically will start out with, or like the back of this page is a huge picture. Well, I'm not gonna choose this picture when it would mean losing a bunch of little pictures. So that's just something that I do in my thought process. But then we're back to the black and whites, which are still awesome. What I haven't figured out is, and maybe you tell me, when I'm doing ephemera packs, should I mix the black and the white with the colored ones, or should I just have a black and white set and a colored set just as variations or something? I feel like that would make more sense. So, and then I'll definitely also cut out the ones off of the cover, because those are fantastic and don't really have anything on the back of them. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you didn't get totally bored with all the books, but there's different kinds of books. I do want to take a moment to say thank you for supporting this channel by watching it and commenting and subscribing. And I know I haven't said this for a few videos, but this channel's not what it used to be. It used to get way more activity, views and stuff when I was doing Temu. I know that Temu is probably more interesting to a lot of people, but I know there's a lot of us out there that really like the nostalgic things, so I'm hauling that right now. Obviously, when you look at how much money I spent on all of this stuff, I could have gotten a ton of Temu stuff, but what would I do with it all? I mean, I could keep buying clothes and stuff, but this stuff I'm actually going to use for my business. So there you go. If you haven't heard that little spiel before, there you go. There's the spiel. But thank you for, I know several of you have stuck around from the Temu days, and thank you for that, because a lot of people didn't. So thank you. And I don't know, I like sitting and talking to you guys while we look at stuff. So I do want to take a quick moment to thank my members. And if you're not aware, I do have membership tiers on this channel. The first tier, you get access to emojis, but in order for me to create more emojis, I have to have more members, and I just am not getting more members. So there's 4 emojis. And if you're in the second tier, you get a small digital kit free each month as part of your membership. And then if you are the top tier, you get the full digital kit for the month. And so hopefully that makes it worth it for those of you that are members. And let me just real quick, when I do shout outs, I do them for all of you because I have 6. So it's very easy to shout out for 6 members. So I've got Julie, thank you, KT, Favorites with Laura, Darlene King. Oh, well, you could probably see that on here. Sorry, I don't normally say the last name. Sorry, Darlene. Hey, everybody, and Pam. So thank you so much for supporting me in that way. And for those of you that go take a look at the items in my Etsy shop, thank you. I think as things get looked at, then more people it will show up for more people. You don't have to buy, I don't think, for my stuff to get more visibility. But yeah, so I'm really needing the views in my Etsy shop too, to get the word out that I've got stuff for sale that I really enjoy putting together. So anyway, thank you, thank you, thank you for stopping by and sharing some of your day with me. Wherever you are, whenever you are, I hope you're having a great day. And until we meet again, take care of yourself. Bye.